like, it's like they planned it. They did not, but I was like, I can't help, and I was like, and then after I said it, I was like, I probably shouldn't have pointed to something outside the camera, but I was like, but I can't help but like point it out. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn off my an hour and a half, but I don't know.
Okay.
When I have it stuck in my.
Committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. Keeping you safer, sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. CBS 2 News streams here. CBS News Chicago. Committed to telling your stories. CBS 2.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist. We are focused on southern Cook County now, the edge of Will County, for our active weather. That is where we have the most intense thunderstorm activity, and that is where we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. I have that area highlighted. Also a marine warning across the entire southern part of Lake Michigan there, all the way across to southwest lower Michigan. This whole line of activity keeps pressing these storms right into Cook County. So our severe thunderstorm warning is active now until 8 o'clock for Will, DuPage, and also southern Cook. The storm itself formed right over the National Weather Service office in Romeoville, moving through Bolingbrook as well, and kind of riding right along the Stevenson here. Want to put a fresh track on it for you so you can see what towns this will be moving into. Now, when we follow the history of this storm and we analyze it on radar, we are seeing that the forward speed has picked up to 60 miles per hour. So it's moving due east at 60. So instead of a squall line track on it, I put just a cone on it so you can see the towns that will be affected by this severe thunderstorm. So through Worth now at 7:39 coming up. After that, Beverly 7:45, going to Chatham at 7:48, then Calumet City, and then East Chicago at about 7:56. So the forward speed is 60 miles per hour. Also, the damaging wind threat. The winds could gust to 60 miles per hour. So that would create damaging winds. We've seen that already with this squall line as it has moved through our western suburbs first, now pushing closer to the lakefront. So what you can expect are damaging winds to 60 miles per hour, very intense rain. It is so warm and humid outside that these storms are just feeding into this very unstable environment that it's moving into, and that's just helping to create that localized flooding in some spots, so watch for that. Also, hail to 1 inch. We've had reports of large hail around town as well. So our focus is for southern Cook County, where the strongest weather is moving through. I want to show you this wider picture. This is all part of a squall line that will touch every county during the morning rush. So terrible timing for this weather to be moving through. And it's going to take a while to get through northwest Indiana. That's why the severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 11 a.m. because storms will move now through Will and Cook County, kind of riding the ridge of the lake, and then eventually moving into northwest Indiana. Rain-cooled air for you in Waukegan. It is 66 degrees right now, 71 in DeKalb, 72 Rochelle, Joliet 78 with deteriorating conditions for you, also for Morris, also for Kankakee and Gary, where it's warm, 81 degrees right now. These storms, individual cells moving east at 60. The whole line itself, though, is falling southeastward. So hour by hour, we will move these storms through this morning, then we get a break. Now, depending on how much sun we may see this afternoon, if you get heating with sunshine, 90-degree heat, that means for the next round this evening, there would be a lot of fuel in the tank to perhaps give us another round of severe thunderstorm activity as we get into the evening rush. So we are dealing with these heavy storms now. A break with heat and humidity could build another round for us late day. And then as we close out the work week, we're looking at a storm threat for Friday as storms return to the forecast. 72 degrees right now, Daily Plaza soaked, southwest winds are out there, dew points are up to 68 degrees, so there's a lot of heat, a lot of steam, and forecast highs are pretty impressive. So 90 for us here in Chicago today, 102 in St. Louis, 95 in Kansas City. As I mentioned, we're tapping a southwesterly wind component. And that's significant for later on, because what that will do is just pull that heat in our direction and help to fuel any storms that form. So no lake breeze today, no lakefront cooling. Instead, our North Shore friends will see 91 in Evanston, Winnetka, even back through DuPage and Elgin will hold at 91 degrees. So there's really no difference between the inland areas and the lakefront. 90 for your high in Orland Park, 90 degrees Hyde Park and Whiting, and Bolingbrook about 91 for today's high. We'll see 89 in Munster and Maryville, and about 86 degrees in Burns Harbor. So as we move through time today, we're dealing with this morning storm threat. Then after lunch, some breaks in the cloud cover could fuel those storms for later on. So especially after 4 o'clock, we're going to start watching for those storm chances to refire. So you can see this whole line. Look at the lightning. It's just incredible along this boundary now from Kenosha back to the Quad Cities. Gusty winds to 60 miles per hour, hail to 1 inch, all expected along that entire boundary. And as I mentioned too, with winds gusting now to 33 miles per hour at Midway, 29 mile per hour wind gusts in Waukegan, and also for you in Rensselaer, that just continues to pull in the heat, pull in the humidity, and add fuel to the storms that are moving through. So that's why on Futurecast it stays active all morning with this frontal boundary. Here's 9 a.m. Still the loop soaked. O'Hare thunderstorms too, not quite out of the woods either for DeKalb and McHenry. Then finally closer to lunchtime, we get a break for our northern suburbs and near the Wisconsin line, but south of I-80, northwest Indiana, that's when you're going to see this squall line move through. Then after lunch, we get the break. Then we keep turning up the temperature throughout the course of the afternoon, but models are having a hard time giving us a picture of the storm threat for this evening. But when we see such instability and such heat that is available, and we know that with another disturbance rolling in as the sun is going down, we have to stay alert. 90 degrees, steamy and stormy today, super humid with those gusty, warm winds around. And then for tonight, 71 will be our low, super mild, super muggy for us. We get a break tomorrow. We get a break Thursday. Then we're looking at Friday and Saturday for another storm chance. We even put a weather alert already on Friday for the possibility of some more strong to severe thunderstorms. Those storms depart Saturday, but look at your weekend. We start with storms. We pushed to 89 for Saturday's high. Sunday looks gorgeous with a high of 77 degrees. So one last look here at where our warnings are. Where is the most active weather? Northern Will County, southern Cook County, south side of Chicago. Bracing for it in northwest Indiana too, because I think this cell, since it's on an eastward track, 60 miles per hour, Gary may start to see some of the effects of this storm if it holds together, which we expect it to, because this whole squall line keeps pushing all these storms quickly to the east. It's been moving the storms incredibly fast to the east at 60 miles per hour. So you can see all the heavy rain lined up along this squall line as it moves through for us this morning. A lot of lightning for us too. So prepare for damaging winds to 60 miles per hour and also that 1-inch hail. All of us have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 11 a.m. because we are following this line, and we will continue to update you here on the stream if any more warnings arise, because we are keeping a close eye on Kankakee County and also northwest Indiana as this squall line pushes to the east. For now, I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist.
Well, leaders at Glen
Keeping you safer sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. CBS 2 News streams here. CBS News Chicago. committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. Keeping you safer, sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. CBS 2 News streams here. CBS News Chicago. committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. Keeping you safer, sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. CBS 2 News streams here. CBS News Chicago. committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. Keeping you safer, sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. From the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team, this is a special weather alert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist. We have active weather around Chicago. Storms keep moving through, but right now we are warning free with the exception of the marine warning over Lake Michigan. Incredible waves and winds there because our squall line is pushing through. However, we've been carefully following a storm just to the west of DeKalb County, just south of Rochelle. You see this cluster of thunderstorm activity trying to step back into our far western counties. That's the strongest storm on the board right now, even though you can see lightning lit up all the way along this front, and that goes all the way up to Lake County, down into Will County as well, as storms are moving east at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. So it's a fast forward speed. Again, the strongest cell is just to the south of Rochelle, traveling to the east. Now, this could create some damaging winds and hail, so it's not a warned storm, but it is on the strong side. It is the strongest storm we have right now, and you can see right now, you can see that little update there. Let me click on that to get the latest warning as far as, okay, they did go ahead with that severe thunderstorm warning now for DeKalb County. On the storm we're focused on for Kane, Kendall, and Lee. It looks like it just intensified over the last 30 seconds or so. So from Brooklyn to Willow Creek, those are towns that sit right along the I-39 corridor. So this storm itself is starting to move closer to Waterman and also to the Victor area. So that is the storm area that we are watching now to see the strongest weather move into the picture. So for Victor, Waterman, and then all along 88 there into DeKalb County, that's where we will start to see that thunderstorm activity moving in. So traveling east at about 60 miles per hour, we are going to see those storms move back into our far western counties. Now, you want to stay here on the stream. We are going to check back in with you in just a couple of minutes and continue to update you on the storms that are around the Chicago area. But for right now, it's DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, and Lee counties where we have those winds to 60. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist, and we'll be right back to check more on the radar updates.
This has been a special weather alert from the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team.
Now to a breaking news update. The 16-year-old boy charged in the shooting death of a retired Chicago police officer is due in court today.
This as investigators say they're still searching for a second suspect in this case. Our Mugo Odigwe live outside the Layton Criminal Courthouse where the teen in custody will appear before a judge later today. Good morning, Mugo.
Yeah, good morning to you, Audrina and Ryan. So the 16-year-old boy in this case has been charged as an adult. He's accused of shooting and killing 73-year-old Larry Newman. Now, all of this happened last Thursday in broad daylight over in the West Garfield Park neighborhood. It was around 11:30 in the morning. Police say Newman, a retired bomb squad technician for CPD, a veteran and a pastor, was outside paying a worker who had just cut his grass. That is when he saw two armed people. They had been waiting for him to step outside, and when he did, they opened fire. CPD released these images of the two guys, the suspects in this case, running away moments after shots were fired. They say the teen in the back turned himself in on Sunday. Police credit the community with helping them find the 16-year-old.
The evidence they provided helped detectives quickly secure charges against this 16-year-old offender.
Larry's life was taken from him by the very people he committed his life to helping.
Now, there is a reward for the second person police are looking for. He is the one seen here in front. Police, though, have not yet released his name. But again, as for that 16-year-old now charged in the shooting death of 73-year-old Larry Newman, he is expected in court later today, and he is being charged as an adult. We're live at 26 in Cal. Mugo Odigwe, CBS 2 News.
Now to breaking news. A teenager is in the hospital this morning after he was shot on the south side. You can see the shell casings and evidence markers littering the street near 90th and Escanaba. A gun could be seen there on the ground. Police say a 15-year-old boy was standing at the corner with a group of men when someone started shooting at them. The teen was rushed to Comer Children's Hospital with critical injuries. Another man was also shot but is expected to recover.
One person is dead. 2 teens are also hurt after a shooting yesterday on the west side. Here in this video, you can see police tape covering the parking lot of this McDonald's right at 53rd and Pulaski. This was in the afternoon. Police say when they got there, they found 2 teenagers. Both had been shot multiple times. A 16-year-old boy was rushed to Christ Hospital with critical injuries. A 15-year-old was taken to Stroger, where they are expected to recover. And then a third person took themselves to Holy Cross Hospital, and they later died there.
Naperville police are investigating after a construction worker was fatally hit by a car while on the job. Police say the 55-year-old subcontractor was working on a city project when a 74-year-old woman hit him with her car. This happened just after 10 yesterday morning near Naper and Heatherfield Circle. He died at the hospital. Roads were closed for nearly 5 hours. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Well, today, the family of a missing Chicago woman is traveling to the Bahamas in hopes of finding her.
And tomorrow will mark 1 week since she vanished. Royal Bahamas Police Force posted this missing persons flyer of 41-year-old Taylor Casey. It says she was last seen Wednesday in Paradise Islands, which is a popular tourist area there in the Bahamas. Friends say she was there for a yoga retreat, but they don't know how long she'd been there for. Earlier this year, the Department of State announced a level 2 travel advisory to use increased caution in the Bahamas. And we spoke to CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg about Casey's case.
We don't know here is where she was actually staying. Did she leave the resort? Did she leave the complex? Was she by herself? Was she traveling with somebody else?
Yeah, lots of questions here. Her mother sent a statement saying, "We are deeply concerned for Taylor's safety and well-being. We love Taylor and want her home."
2 teenage girls were rescued from nearly drowning in Lake Michigan at Porter Beach over the weekend. Porter police are praising a few northern Indiana beachgoers who jumped to their rescue. Porter police say they were called to the beach around 7 p.m. Sunday when they noticed one girl struggling in the water. As she was being helped, a second girl who was about 50 yards from shore was also struggling to stay afloat. Rescuers used this newly installed life ring to help both girls, and they're okay.
And a North Suburban church is asking for your help to clean up graffiti. Staff at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Waukegan say someone spray painted this anti-LGBTQ message right on their sidewalk. They're now asking if anyone can paint over it, preferably with the rainbow or a pride flag. The church says they'll pay for the paint.
Today, people of all cycling abilities will be hitting the South Lakefront Trail in a fleet. Envision Unlimited is kicking off its second adaptive summer cycling series. They use unique bikes, including adult tricycles and duet bikes. These photos are from last summer. Over 500 people came out for it, and they're hoping for a similar turnout this year. You're invited to bring their own bikes or learn how to ride with a member who needs some assistance. Well, leaders at Glenbrook South High School say their investigation into a controversial quote in the yearbook will be made public today.
There was a quote published from a student that appeared to say they were happy about Hamas attacks on Israel. A nearly 20-page report revealed that that quote from the student was accurate, but it was taken out of context. In fact, October 7th, they say, was never even mentioned during the interview with the student. An attorney has investigated the yearbook controversy for about the past month now and concluded there is little to no adult oversight when it comes to the yearbook's production.
There was no oversight by the advisor in the yearbook. They had plenty of time to retract the statement from the student, who I actually feel bad for the student as well, because she's now being targeted because there was no oversight by an adult.
It seems that this quote had nothing to do actually with October 7th, which is completely upsetting to me, that students decided to make it about something that it wasn't.
The report also shows that in the advisor of the yearbook's 20-year career in this position, he has never gone to the principal for advice on certain publication controversies.
Ready or not, here they come. Cook County property taxes are arriving on time. Starting July 2nd, you'll be able to see your bill online. The bills are also being sent out next week. The second installment for the tax year 2023 is due August 1st. This marks the first time in 2 years Cook County officials have mailed both installments for a property tax year on time. And Mayor Brandon Johnson is making the rounds ahead of a host of labor laws that go into effect in less than a week. Today, he'll be part of a panel discussion focusing on the new paid time off policy. It guarantees up to 5 days of paid vacation time and 5 paid sick days for most Chicagoans. It starts on July 1st, the same day the city's minimum wage increases to $16.20. The mayor will be at another discussion tomorrow to raise awareness about those changes. There is another federal court hearing today for a group of pro-Palestinian protesters who want to march near the upcoming Democratic National Convention. The group sued the city of Chicago after learning the only protest route was 3 miles away from the United Center. The coalition says it has had confidential conversations with city attorneys about a possible march route. Their goal is to be within sight and sound of the DNC.
This week, there are 2 more meetings for you to learn about plans to extend the Red Line. Today's meeting serves the 21st Ward, which could have 2 new Red Line stops. And then there's another meeting tomorrow for people who live in the 10th Ward, which is on track to get a new station. So last week, people on the far south side got to learn about the project that will add 4 new stops, stretching service to 130th Street. Right now, trains are stopping at 95th. The CTA says the extension could save riders up to 30 minutes on their commute into downtown, which, of course, big deal in the morning. Crews are already starting to move utility lines and begin demolition for the project. Today's meeting, though, from 6 to 7:30 at the Red Line Extension Community Office, that's in Roseland. And then tomorrow's is at the same time at the Chicago Public Library, Alkett Gardens.
Chicago's longest-serving alderman will now spend 2 years in prison after a federal jury convicted him of racketeering and bribery. Now the question is, where could Ed Burke serve his sentence? Burke also has to pay a $2 million fine and will have 1 year of supervised release after serving his time. His legal team is asking that he be put in a prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin.
From the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team, this is a special weather alert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Kay Kleist. We want to update you now on where we have the most active weather. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that we just told you about for parts of Kane County, also DeKalb County. You can see it highlighted here in the orange. This is new thunderstorm activity that has turned severe. We could see winds gusting to 60 miles per hour, 1-inch hail, and very heavy rain. Notice how we do have storms from the lakefront down to the far southwest counties, also through parts of LaSalle County as well. So the radar has really filled in for us, but we do have the most active weather now, just focused on the southern half of DeKalb County. So you can see it highlighted here. We'll zoom in a little bit tighter and go right in on the storm and track it. It is traveling east fast at 60 miles per hour, creating a lot of wind and a lot of rain. Now, the history with these storms this morning, we've seen rainfall rates of up to 2 inches of rain per hour with these storms. They're moisture loaded. We do have a lot of heat, a lot of humidity building into this front as it comes through. So take a look at the timing here. This is when we expect severe storms in your neighborhood if you're on the path for this. So into Sandwich at 8:37, Sugar Grove at 8:50, also through the town of Aurora, and Naperville as well. Naperville around 9:16. It's going to basically follow the I-88 really as we go in. So as you make your way on 88, you could run into some very heavy rain, especially just south of there, running along Ogden Avenue too. So you could see ponding on area roadways. All of this moving into Hinsdale around 9:34. Don't forget near Clarendon Hills too. That'll be a town in the path, and eventually to Midway Airport at 9:52. So now the National Weather Service has expanded the flood advisory I talked about last time to include Lake County. So up near Zion and Waukegan and Winthrop Harbor, you are also under this flood advisory. For the city and DuPage County, it's until 9:45, but it's until 10 o'clock for Lake County, as those rainfall rates I mentioned up to 2 inches per hour. And with that severe thunderstorm activity moving into parts of Kane County, that means that rain is going to move into this area that's already experiencing flooding. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to drive across water-covered roadways. Turn around, don't drown is what we say, because up 6 inches of water can make you lose control of your car, and we have a band of rain that still has to move through. So powerful winds, very heavy rain, and hail all along this boundary. Some rain-cooled air up in Waukegan, 66 degrees right now. We're at 73 at Midway. You are under the line for that severe storm to move in if you're in those surrounding neighborhoods around the airport. Also, we're holding at 76 in Morris. So we have a lot of heat energy out there too. and humidity that's going to fuel the storms. So all of our area, even northwest Indiana, you haven't really gotten in on this just yet, but you will. We have a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock this morning because we do expect the active weather to continue. This is the first round today. Now through noon, we're going to deal with this, damaging winds, heavy rain, also 1 inch hail is a possibility. Then we get a break, and if we hit 90 degrees and have any amount of sunshine, that means round number 2 as we get into the evening hours. That could be strong as well, and we have to add some rotation to some of these storms, possibly as we could bring in a tornado threat with the hail and the wind. So a lot of hazards, all hazards on the table later if that second round of storm activity forms. Well, that front's going to be moving to some incredible heat. I mean, we're talking the region in the 90s, 97 today in Quincy, 95 in Peoria. In Chicago, we should reach 91 degrees. Notice, no lakefront cooling either. It's that southwesterly wind component that's going to be pulling us into the 90s today. Add to that the amount of moisture in the air. So there is a lot of steam, a lot of instability around. So that's why we're focused on morning storms now, possibly a break in the afternoon, and then that would help fuel storms as we get into this evening. So this whole line of weather moving through now, incredible amounts of lightning showing up. I wanted to highlight this just to show you how this whole squall line really is lit up with powerful storms, some of them strong to severe, and yes, creating some very heavy rain. We have gusty winds pulling in that heat, 24-mile-per-hour winds now Valparaiso, winds to 47 miles per hour in Rochelle. That's where that severe thunderstorm is now. So your winds in DeKalb will probably increase as well. And with winds out of the south, we're pulling the dew point temperatures to hit 70 ahead of those severe storms that are now moving into the far western suburbs. So along the I-39 corridor into DeKalb County, you're going to move those storms into these 70-degree dew points. That's nothing but fuel to help really bring more in the way of rain. And Futurecast is keeping us wet for the morning rush. Finally, after lunch, we get a break as storms go south of the Kankakee River Valley, but then the heating takes place. Models have a hard time always grasping on that second round because we're dealing with so much rain in the picture right now. But just know, hitting 90 degrees and seeing another disturbance roll in when we hit that maximum heat, we could see that second round form. So we're going to keep an eye on that. That's why we have a weather alert day in play, because an evening storm threat with muggy mild conditions, certainly with us 71 for our overnight low temperature. Then a break as we get into Wednesday and to Thursday as well. But we already tagged Friday as another active day perhaps. Showers and storms could turn severe, and those could linger into Friday night, leaving us with Saturday morning storms. So steamy on Saturday, 89. Sunday looks better, 77 for your daytime high. So a recap here, marine warning is up still. That severe thunderstorm warning still in effect now for the southern parts of DeKalb County. Also, as we reach into Kane County and the edge of Kendall, that's until 8:45 this morning. That storm is tracking east into a place that's dealing with flooded roads already, including the city of Chicago. And our entire area is still dealing with this squall line as it moves through. So all of us under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock this morning. And we are here in the First Alert Weather Center. Laura Bannon is with me, and we will track this line as it comes through and forecast the next round coming on later for us today. For now, I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist.
This has been a special weather alert from the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team.
A new poll finds Illinois voters oppose publicly funding a new Bears lakefront stadium by a pretty wide margin. M3 Strategies conducted the survey for Crane Chicago Business last week. In all, just 28% of those surveyed support spending $1.2 billion in taxpayer dollars on building a new stadium, compared to 65% who say they're opposed. Another $1.5 billion in infrastructure upgrades would be needed for the plan, and that element has voters more closely divided. It's not all bad news for Hallis Hall, though. 40% of respondents said they'd be more likely to support the stadium plan if the NFL were to publicly commit to hosting the Super Bowl in Chicago. And the plan has the support of a majority of respondents if the government were to get a share of the profit from non-football events at the stadium, like concerts. Now on the Money Watch, more people are heading to the airport this summer. Go figure.
Yeah, I know, right? TSA workers say they screened about 3 million people at airports across the country yesterday, and that's notable because they say that's the busiest day ever, and they expect it to only get busier. TSA says it expects to screen about 32 million passengers now leading up to the 4th of July holiday. And some bad news for chicken wing fans. Hooters closing dozens of its locations across the country. The company says it's facing some challenges with rising food and labor costs. Not clear how many stores are closing or where they're located. And Spotify recently raised their prices. The individual premium plan went from $10.99 to $11.99 per month. Well, now they're offering a new basic premium plan for that $10.99. The less expensive option is the same access to music but doesn't include audiobooks. And a lottery player in Indiana is taking home a big payout.
But lottery officials say they're still looking for the person to send the check to. According to the Northwest Indiana Times, one lucky person is hanging on to a cash 5 lottery ticket worth about $450,000. Take a look at the numbers on your screen. If your ticket matches those numbers, you have until July 1st, just a few more days, to claim your cash.
Anyone else available for assignment? Anyone go citywide? Anyone available?
On any given day, how bad is it?
There are days where the alarm office is saying, is there an ambulance available? Is anybody available? It's in the entire city.
What does that mean?
That means that rig, which says on the side of it, paramedic equipped, is not equipped with the paramedic.
You're saying there's a real shortage of paramedics?
Yes.
Any available ambulance? Anybody available?
Farmers and the weather.
Weather's always been a challenge.
I think I have 5 different weather apps on my phone, and I probably check them over a dozen times a day.
Climate change and the price of doing business.
The changes in the weather are definitely challenges to farm income.
It seems that it's getting more extreme.
What climate change is costing farmers and what it could ultimately cost you. Wednesday on CBS 2 News at 10.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning, and so good to be with you here on our Tuesday morning. I'm Audrina Sinclair. We got your headlines this morning, but first, we're going to start with weather as you see the rain coming down there on Dan Ryan. Mary Kay, what are you tracking this morning?
Okay, so we have one severe thunderstorm warning on the board, Audrina, and this is for DeKalb, Kane, and Kendall counties until 8:45. We could see wind gusts to 60 miles per hour with this particular storm. It is moving east at 60 as well, so it is on a fast forward speed. So through the town of Plano at 8:38, Plainfield at 9:08, continuing to ride there just along Ogden Avenue into Downers Grove and Naperville, Orland Park about 9:39. And perhaps if it holds together to Chicago just before 10 o'clock. What we know is this severe thunderstorm is tracking east into a place that already is dealing with some flooded streets. We have a flood advisory up now for DuPage County, all of Cook County, and that's until 9:45. But up to the north, it's been extended till 10 a.m. because we've seen rainfall rates of up to 2 inches per hour with some of these stronger thunderstorms. So we are all under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 a.m. this morning, and maybe another round this evening as high as at 91. Audrina?
Mary Kay, thank you. A man accused of assaulting outgoing Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox is expected back in court later today. 34-year-old Women Sweats is charged with aggravated assault and battery. He's accused of tossing brown liquid at Fox and also intentionally reversing his truck across the road and accelerating right toward her. And Chicago's longest-serving alderman will now spend 2 years in prison after a federal jury convicted him of racketeering and also bribery. Ed Burke, we're talking about, also has to pay a $2 million fine and will have 1 year of supervised release after serving his time. His team asking that he be put in a prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin. Well, thank you for being with us this morning. Your local news continues on CBS News Chicago.
The man accused of attacking Cook County's top prosecutor is about to appear in court.
Investigators say he sped up to her in a car and also splashed her with liquid from a cup. Our Marissa Perlman joining us in the newsroom now. Marissa, what are the type of charges and maybe punishment he could be facing now?
Well, the suspect is facing assault with a deadly weapon charge, and it's a felony, and if convicted, could face up to 30 years in prison. And this morning, we expect to learn more about that suspect and what may have motivated this attack. This all happened on Friday near a home in South suburban Flossmoor. Police say Kim Fox was on the parkway of the road when 34-year-old William Sweats tossed a brown liquid from a cup onto her face. She was sitting in the driver's seat of a GMC truck at the time. Now, Sweats is also accused of intentionally reversing across the road and speeding towards Fox. Court records show she was forced to step off the road onto the grass to avoid being hit by that car. Now, Fox was first elected to the state's attorney's office in 2016. She has faced intense criticism during her 2 terms and has decided to not seek re-election this year. Sweats was in court on Sunday and was released from custody. We'll be back for a hearing this morning. We will be there and we'll bring you the latest. Back to you.
From the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team, this is a special weather alert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Kay Kleist. Well, good news. We are warning free for the moment, but we are still keeping our eye on some storms that are creating some very heavy rain, especially with the cell that was severe and now has dropped below severe limits. But still, we see very heavy rain, a lot of lightning surrounding Northville, moving into Hinckley as well. This storm, even though it is not a warned storm, is traveling to the east at 60 miles per hour. So it is going to really create some heavy rain along I-88, along Ogden Avenue, as you make your way there into the city of Chicago. So just know that this storm is moving to the east. Right now it is below severe limits, but you could still have very gusty winds and that torrential rain where visibility drops. And we've seen rainfall rates that have been so impressive with these storms. That's why a flood advisory is up now to the Wisconsin line. So it's Lake County until 10 o'clock this morning. Then you get into Cook and DuPage. That's until 9:45. All of this area in green during the height of our rush, seeing rainfall rates of up to 2 inches per hour. That's incredibly, a lot of moisture kind of loaded into these storms as they move to the east. So the general storm movement has been east and has been at about 60 miles per hour. Now it's raining and getting heavier in Gary, 81, 78 in Valparaiso. We see 71 with rain filling into Morris and 77 in Kankakee. So conditions deteriorating now for areas well south of I-80. All of us under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock this morning in case any of these do turn severe. Ominous looking skies. This is a live look right now. Everybody waking up on campus at NIU is looking to the sky and thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, our friends in the meteorology department share their camera network with us, and we really appreciate it, especially on a day like today where we can get a look at the storm features as they move through. So this is a live look in DeKalb all across the NIU campus. So what we'll do is move this rain through this morning. We get a break in the middle of the afternoon, but notice how hot it gets with highs near 90 degrees. We're not even expecting any lakefront cooling. So what that could do is fuel a second round. We're dealing with round number 1 now, but that round number 2 storms could redevelop late in the day, especially as we get into the sunset hour. And then we finally get a break for tomorrow and Thursday before another weather alert steps into play on Friday. Daly Plaza soaking wet now and about to get even wetter because we're going to see all that rain in the far western suburbs move in over the next half hour. So going downhill with visibility here in the heart of the loop, 73 degrees, southwest winds at 13, 102 for the high in St. Louis today, Kansas City 96 for the forecast high, Omaha 95. We're tapping that wind out of the west-southwest, so that's where our air mass is coming from. That's the reason so hot. And with that dominant wind gusty enough, No lake breeze, so our friends along the North Shore will see 92. Lake Forest and Highland Park, Northbrook as well, Skokie 92. Winnetka and Evanston 91. Even in the Loop, we should cross that 90-degree mark. So even though we have a lot of rain and cloud cover for now, sun pops out, we really heat up. But as I mentioned, this heat and all of the moisture out there in the form of humidity can help fuel storms for later on. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we deal with this morning round first. Here is, as we get closer to lunchtime, storm complex sliding into northwest Indiana. That's been the story now, the whole line of it kind of sagging southeastward. And then finally we'll get a break. But that's when temperatures really turn up this afternoon. And when you have a model run that deals with such heavy weather in the morning, it has a hard time grabbing on what will happen later in the day. But we know with another disturbance coming in and all this heat and humidity that's available, we're going to keep an eye on the evening rush, especially closer to the sunset hour. So super steamy and stormy today, 91 for the forecast high, and it will be muggy tonight with a low temperature of 71 degrees. And as I mentioned, a break tomorrow, break Thursday. Thursday looks great. Friday, we watch for storms all over again. We tagged it as an alert day already, and some of those storms into Friday night could linger Saturday morning. Super hot Saturday, 89. And then Sunday, looking better, 77 for your daytime high. So our severe thunderstorm warning now, we have this new one in LaPorte County. So now we're starting to see northwest Indiana get active as storms travel to the east. So heavy rain still on board for us this morning. All of us dealing with this line. It's dropping southeast, but individual cells are racing east at 60. And what you can expect from the strongest cells that form this morning are wind gusts to 60 miles per hour, hail up to 1 inch perhaps. That's why we're under this severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock this morning. Keep it here on the stream and on CBS 2 because we will jump in and update you as we track this storm front. I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist.
This has been a special weather alert from the CBS 2 First Alert Weather Team.
As Paris gets set to host the Olympics next month, some athletes and scientists are sounding the alarm on the climate.
Yeah, specifically a hot summer, because there's a new report out saying Paris is 5.5 degrees hotter than it was in 1924, which was the last time it hosted the Olympics. And athletes are being forced to deal with it. One British rugby player described training in a sauna to prepare for what could be the hottest Olympics ever.
A groundbreaking survey from the UN finds that 80% of people around the world want stronger climate action by governments. It's the biggest ever standalone public opinion survey on climate change. The survey also found that 69% of responders said that decisions on where to live or work are being impacted by climate change. Sundance could be coming to A-Town.
Yeah, the city of Atlanta throwing some big money behind their official proposal to host this festival. So they're hoping $2 million and the city's strong history of luring big events like the Olympics will be enough to snag the crown jewel of cinema away from Utah. So the contract for Sundance set to expire in 2026, but with the world's busiest airport and an increase in film production in the state of Georgia, supporters think Atlanta has a legitimate shot at hosting it. But local cinephiles will not have to travel to Utah or to Atlanta to experience the magic of Sundance. This weekend, the Sundance Institute Chicago hosting events right here in the city, including 3 days of screenings and Q&A sessions with the movie makers. Chicago, by the way, is the only U.S. city to host an independent film weekend in partnership with the festival. You can get all the information at sundance.org.
You've probably seen or heard that Chicago's beloved tourist attraction, The Bean, is back open. It was closed for almost a year for repairs. Well, it turns out whoever runs the social media accounts for New York City's Empire State Building saw that news too. They tweeted out a bit of a shady Wendy Williams clip saying, "Clap if you care," with nobody clapping. So far, The Bean hasn't responded.
Anyone else available for an assignment? Payment goes citywide. Anyone available?
On any given day, how bad is it?
There are days where the alarm office is saying, is there an ambulance available? Is anybody available? That's in the entire city.
What does that mean?
That means that rig, which says on the side of it, paramedic equipped, is not equipped with the paramedic.
You're saying there's a real shortage of paramedics?
Yes.
Any available ambulance? Anybody available?
Farmers and the weather.
Weather's always been a challenge.
I think I have 5 different weather apps on my phone, and I probably check them over a dozen times a day.
Climate change and the price of doing business.
The changes in the weather are definitely challenges to farm income.
It seems that it's getting more extreme.
What climate change is costing farmers and what it could ultimately cost you. Wednesday on CBS 2 News at 10.
Committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. keeping you safer sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. CBS 2 News streams here. CBS News Chicago. Committed to telling your stories. CBS 2. keeping you safer sooner. CBS 2 First Alert Weather. This is CBS 2 News.
And good morning on this Tuesday. I'm Ryan Baker.
And I'm Adrena Sinclair. Good to be with you. Let's get started with meteorologist Laura Bannon for a look at that forecast and the weather alert still in place, Laura.
Warning free at the hour, and we still have a severe storm watch currently in effect till 11 o'clock this morning. There we go. And we are likely going to see this watch get trimmed back as the morning progresses, as these storms clear across the area. And those storms right now are positioned farther south of Chicago. We still have a few downpours and some storms across northern Cook County, Lake County. Heaviest storms now off toward the south, across a portion into LaSalle County, Kendall, and also Grundy County at this hour. But no severe thunderstorm warnings, just working with some gusty winds between 40, 50 miles per hour and some pockets of heavy rain. Now, speaking of the heavy rain, we've seen some reports upwards of 2 inches per hour. We have a flood advisory in effect here this morning across Cook County, Lake County, DuPage County. Likely see things improve as all this rain wraps up. Likely going to see this done by about noontime. Headed to a high today of 91. It's going to be a hot one. Feels like temperatures could approach 100 degrees.
All right, Laura, thank you so much. Well, next on the news at 9, of course, continuing to follow those weather alerts, but also a man dumps the liquid in his cup on the county's top prosecutor. Now he's facing a judge for splashing State's Attorney Kim Foxx. Coming up, find out what felony charges he's facing and what could happen if this case goes to trial.
Larry's life was taken from him by the very people he committed his life to helping.
A former Chicago police officer, pastor, and veteran killed outside his home in broad daylight. One of the shooters, a 16-year-old. We're live as the teen appears in court and police search for a second suspect.
And see how a master distiller from the 1800s inspired a modern entrepreneur who took the world of whiskey by storm. We've got a live interview coming up at 9.
Looking forward to that. All those stories and more coming up next on our 9 a.m. newscast.
We'll see you back here in 3 minutes.
This is CBS 2 News at 9.
Good morning to you. This Tuesday, I'm Ryan Baker.
And I'm Adrena Sinclair in for Dana this morning. Good to be with you. And thanks so much for joining us on TV or streaming us on CBS News Chicago. This is the big story this morning, that pounding rain making it tough on those roads. It's really turning the morning commute into more of a nighttime drive. We saw the winds blowing the rain sideways at times. Laura's tracking the storms and when the worst will be over.
The man accused of assaulting Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx goes before a judge this morning. What charges he's now facing?
And the teen charged with killing a retired Chicago police officer heads to court today as police are still searching for a second gunman seen in this video. And we begin, though, with those strong storms pounding our area.
And the worst of it is moving to the south, but it leaves behind some big concerns about lightning and some flooding. Meteorologist Laura Bannon has been very busy all morning. She joins us now in the First Alert Weather Center. Laura.
Yeah, we still have our watch that's in effect until 11 o'clock. No warnings as of right now, but those strong thunderstorms are still out there. Wind gusts upwards of 40, 50 miles per hour, and could still be dealing with at least a couple of hail reports here or there. But the overall trend showing things moving on out of the area south of I-80. Still have some thunderstorms in the vicinity across Chicago, points north across parts of Lake County. Heaviest storms at leading edge that brought us all the nasty weather earlier this morning, moving south and moving now into parts of Newton and Jasper County. So we are warning free for right now, but talking about some of the rain, it was really intense. Radar estimates are showing anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain across parts of Lake County, northern Cook County, also a swath across parts of DeKalb County. We do have that flood advisory that's going to be in effect for another hour or so due to some of the poor drainage that we do have across parts of Lake County and also some leftover ponding that we have across parts of DuPage County too and Cook County. So things are starting to clear up out there, especially farther off toward the north and west. We'll likely be falling into a drying pattern for the early afternoon. Temperatures skyrocket, 80s, 90s. Feels like readings could approach 100 degrees, but we do have some more thunderstorms set to develop in the late day, overnight hours. We'll talk more in detail of what to expect coming up.
Laura, thank you. Right now, the man accused of attacking Cook County's top prosecutor is about to appear in court.
Investigators saying he sped up to her in a car, also splashed some type of liquid from a cup on her. CBS News' Marissa Perlman joining us live from the courthouse. Marissa, what are the charges here and what type of punishment could he face?
Well, the suspect here, guys, is facing assault with a deadly weapon charge. That is a felony and could, if convicted, he could face up to 30 years in prison. This morning, in a hearing less than a half hour from now, we do expect to learn more about who the suspect is and what may have motivated him for this alleged attack. Again, this all happened Friday near a home in south suburban Flossmoor. Police say Kim Foxx was on the parkway of the road when 34-year-old William Sweats tossed a brown liquid from a cup onto her face. Sweats is also accused of intentionally reversing across the road and speeding towards Foxx. Court records say she was forced to step off the road onto the grass to avoid being hit by the car. Now, Foxx was first elected to the state's attorney's office back in 2016. She has faced intense criticism during her 2 terms and has decided not to seek re-election this year. Now, Sweats was in court on Friday for those felony charges. He was released from custody but is not allowed to have any contact with Kim Foxx. He will be back in court this morning and again facing a judge for the second time. We'll expect to learn more about what his motivation may have been and more about these charges. Back to both of you.
Now to more breaking news. A teenager is one of 2 people shot overnight on the south side. Police put down evidence markers on the street near 90th and Escanaba by shell casings and a gun you see there. Police say a 15-year-old boy was standing at the corner with a group of men when someone started shooting at them. The teen was rushed to Comer Children's Hospital with critical injuries. Another man was also shot. He's expected to recover.
One person is dead and 2 teens are hurt after a shooting that happened yesterday on the west side. Here at the scene yesterday afternoon, you could see police tape covering the parking lot. This is the McDonald's right at 53rd and Pulaski. Police say when they got there, they found 2 teenagers who'd been shot multiple times. The 16-year-old is in critical condition. A 15-year-old is expected to recover. And then a 19-year-old who was shot later died at the hospital.
The 16-year-old boy charged in the shooting death of a retired Chicago police officer is due in court today.
This is investigators say they're actually still searching for a second suspect.
CBS 2's Mugu Digwe live at the Layton Criminal Courthouse, where the teen in custody will appear before a judge. Good morning, Mugu.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ryan and Audrina. So that 16-year-old boy has now been charged as an adult in this case. He's accused of shooting and killing 73-year-old Larry Newman. This shooting happened last Thursday in broad daylight over in the West Garfield Park neighborhood. It was around 11:30 in the morning. Police say Newman, a retired bomb squad technician for CPD, a veteran and a pastor, was outside paying a worker who had just cut his grass. And that is when he saw two armed people. They had been waiting for him to step outside, and when he did, they opened fire. CPD released these images of the two guys, the suspects, running away moments after shots were fired. They say the teen in the back turned himself in on Sunday. Police credit the community with helping them find the 16-year-old boy.
The evidence they provided helped detectives quickly secure charges against this 16-year-old offender.
Larry's life was taken from him by the very people he committed his life to helping.
Now, there is a reward for the second person police are still looking for. He is the one seen here in front. Police have not yet released his age. But as for that 16-year-old boy who turned himself in, again, he is expected in court later this afternoon, and he is being charged as an adult in the shooting. We're live at the Layton Criminal Courthouse. Mugo Odigwe, CBS 2 News.
Mugo, thank you. Yet another 16-year-old is in court today, charged with killing a 7-year-old boy. Rayshawn Comer is also being tried as an adult. Prosecutors say Comer fired 13 shots from a rifle 1 week ago near the Oakley Square apartments on the near west side. Giovanni Amir Rivera was hit in the back as he walked outside to deliver a cooking pot to a next-door neighbor. Comer has multiple previous arrests. Today, the family of a missing Chicago woman is traveling to the Bahamas in hopes of finding her.
Tomorrow marks 1 week since she vanished there, and Royal Bahamas Police Force posted this here. It's a missing persons flyer of Taylor Casey. It says she was last seen last Wednesday in Paradise Islands. It's a popular tourist area there. We talked to friends who say she was there for a yoga retreat, but they don't know how long she'd been there for. Earlier this year, though, the Department of State did announce a level 2 travel advisory to use increased caution in the Bahamas if you travel there. We spoke to CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg about this case.
What we don't know here is where she was actually staying. Did she leave the resort? Did she leave the complex? Was she by herself? Was she traveling with somebody else?
Of course, still lots of questions. Casey's mother did release a statement saying that they're deeply concerned for Taylor's safety and well-being. She says, "We love Taylor and we want her home."
Today, dozens of rideshare drivers are putting down their keys and picking up picket signs. Activate Respect is a group of drivers and organizers from across the country. They're fighting back against deactivation practices. They say rideshare companies use them to suspend or terminate a driver's account with little to no warning or explanation. You're looking at video from a previous protest where a different group rallied over the very same issue. Drivers say because of the rule, they feel like they can't kick a passenger out from their cars if they feel unsafe. A rally is scheduled at O'Hare this morning between Terminals 1 and 2.
Today, people of all cycling abilities will be hitting the South Lakefront Trail if the weather cooperates for them later today. Envision Unlimited is kicking off its second adaptive summer cycling series. They use unique bikes like adult tricycles and duet bikes. These photos are from last summer. People invited to bring their own bikes or learn how to ride with a member who needs some assistance.
Well, are you planning a summer vacation? How changes at the Federal Reserve could help you afford that best trip possible.
Oh, trips, they're so nice. And should social media come with warning labels like the ones on cigarette packages? Well, interesting question. Experts are divided on the issue. Find out where their opinions are different.
What a loud morning. It was busy with the heavy rain, the high wind, the hail. We still have those thunderstorms moving on out of the area. We're likely going to see some more thunderstorms late in the day, overnight hours, the hour-by-hour look, and we'll take a look at that weekend forecast coming up.
welcome back. If you've been out early or have windows, you know it's been a very active morning all across the area with the weather.
People were walking into work this morning. We're soaked.
Or not sure what time of day it was. Is it at night or in the morning? Because it's pretty dark. Not only are we dealing with more rain and storms, but there's some steamy stuff coming on the backside too.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Now as those storms move out comes the heat, the steam bath.
A lot of humidity.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty nasty out there temperature-wise. I know.
What a day.
I know,
Yeah.
right? We can't catch a break today. We do expect some more thunderstorms too in the late day and possibly into the nighttime hours. Our severe storm watch stands as it did earlier this morning. It includes the entire Chicago metro, but as those storms are moving on out of here, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of counties be trimmed out of it. Where's these thunderstorms now? We've got a really healthy, juicy line of thunderstorms that goes all the way into Iowa, also up toward Michigan. It's been a long night with this one. These storms are now moving right along 80 points further south, still working with some wind gusts upwards of 45 miles per hour to 50. You need 60 to see a severe thunderstorm warnings, which we do not have at the current hour. But what we do have is still quite a bit of electricity. We do have the cloud to ground lightning across the northern Cook County now. Most of those storms are now moving out over the lake from what we're seeing across Evanston from the northern part now. Wheeling 2 also getting a break. Where we're not seeing a break just yet is farther south. Likely going to see these thunderstorms that are gusty across parts of Newton and Jasper County slide off toward the south and east, where it has been relatively quiet all morning long. Again, no active warnings right now, but those big threats is going to be the heavy rain and those gusty winds. And speaking of the heavy rain, triggered a flood advisory across Cook County, DuPage County, and also for Lake County. This is going to be in effect until at least 10 o'clock this morning, especially for Lake County, where we've got the poor drainage and the heavy rain. The rain this morning, we were seeing some rain rates upwards of 2 inches per hour. So things are really steamy out there. It's humid. The humidity levels are going to get higher as we get a break, reset, adjust, and watch for some more thunderstorms during the late day into the night. We get break by noon, a lower end potential of those thunderstorms moving out, and then those chance for showers and thunderstorms to go up by the evening hours and potentially going into the nighttime hours too. There is a potential that these thunderstorms do turn strong to severe. Now through the day on Wednesday, we'll be looking for calmer, quieter conditions, but our severe storm threat, it covers a large portion for today, a level 2 risk on a scale of 1 to 5. And speaking of the heat, we're going to 91 today with the humidity. Dew points are at right around 70 degrees. It's going to factor in for some feels like readings that could reach to 100 degrees. Tonight, heavy rain threat and some thunderstorms, 71 degrees for the low. We'll be in the 80s for tomorrow and really feeling the cool, refreshing air that's going to settle in through at least tomorrow and to Thursday. 76 degrees, cooler near the lake. And then by Friday, a brief break from the thunderstorms. We have heavy rain and thunderstorms again taking aim at Chicago late Friday into Saturday. Temperatures head up before improving again by Sunday. We'll see highs in the 70s for the end of the weekend. Ryan, Audrina.
Laura, thanks so much. Summer is here, which has a lot of us thinking about taking a vacation and getting a little fun in the sun.
Yeah, it's always a good time to examine your finances, though. Ways to pay for that, to save to pay for it. CBS News, always. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joining us live now. Jill, good to see you. The Federal Reserve has given a gift to savers. What is it?
Well, they've kept short-term interest rates at 23-year highs for almost 2 years. But a lot of savers, they're still earning peanuts on their safe money. So before the Fed starts to cut, here's a nice thing you can do to add a few bucks to your account. Check out high-yield savings accounts, money markets, or certificates of deposit. You know, instead of less than 1%, you may be able to earn 4 or 5% on your emergency reserves, or maybe it's cash for a future tax payment or a tuition bill that looms in the future. These are risk-free ways to earn more money.
Sounds like a great idea. So inflation is slowing a bit, but the cost of home and auto insurance has skyrocketed. How can consumers manage that?
Well, I know it's shocking because, you know, you get that bill once a year and then you see it pops up by 20%. So to defray some of that increase, you've got to shop around. And one thing you should consider is bundling your coverage. I know a lot of people do this already, but auto and homeowners, good thing to bundle. Also, educate yourself on ways that you might be able to qualify for a discount. So everything from a security system or maybe paying for a full year versus monthly, even taking a defensive driving course, that can really help. You also may want to consider dropping your collision and or your comprehensive coverages for your older cars.
All right, Jill, and I know you have some other ways that people can maybe trim their spending a bit to help out with that savings too.
Well, I think it's time to cancel any unwanted subscriptions once and for all. And I know we all have done this. You sign up for something, you read an article or three, and then you never go back. Or you watch something and then you don't go back. So just scan the automatic subscriptions on your Apple Pay or Google Pay, but also check your credit card bill and check your monthly bank statement. You might find that there is real money there just by canceling the unwanted or unused subscriptions.
I was just thinking about this. I got to do a subscription inventory.
Yes.
Because they add up quicker than you think. You think, oh, I cut the cord. And next you know, you look at the bill, you're spending just as much.
Oh my God,
more.
$12 here, $10 here adds up.
Let's just keep going up. Jill, as always, appreciate your insight.
You bet.
All right, 9:18 now. It has been such a busy day on the roads. Chris Habermill has been keeping an eye on them. Chris, how's it going out there? Is it still so crazy?
Very, very slow, but we're starting to recover. And Ryan and Audrina, it is just add water and you get instant delays in the mix here. Roads, rails, airports, everything affected by this. So let's go off to the maps. Wow, look at all the red there. There's been some standing water, ponding water. Everything is wet. South Shore line service had to be stopped because of a variety of power outages that feed that line in different spots there. So they're working on that. Metro service is running with just your standard operating delays, especially considering the weather there. Some spots may be slower than others. Core expressways are basically parked because of the rain. We've got out at O'Hare. The latest is a ground stop has been extended now. It was going to end at 9. It's been extended for another hour. So a ground stop in effect until 10. 103 cancellations right now at O'Hare. Midway at a ground stop was lifted a little early. It was supposed to go to 9:15. So we're just left with flight delays of about 1 hour. One cancellation. Yep, that'd probably be my flight. Rest of the expressways and tollways, no major incidents. Just watch out for some localized street flooding and some branches and limbs down in some spots where it's been a little windier than others. Chris Habermill, CBS 2 News.
Chris, thanks so much. Well, no delay this year when Cook County property tax bills will be arriving in mailboxes. We wish that was a delay, right?
I know, ready or not, here they come. And new hope for people dealing with depression, such an important topic to talk about, but why it may be a challenge for people to get this new drug.
Hey guys, good morning. We're hanging out in Streeterville this morning at a brand new Pilates studio called Reform Studio. So there's actually a class underway right now. Coming up in about a half an hour, we'll take you inside the class. We'll tell you all about what makes these Pilates reformer machines extra special. They're actually exclusive to the Chicago market. And we'll tell you why Pilates is such a good workout for runners and people who are sitting at their desks all day. So we'll see you back here in a half an hour. See you actually after the break.
welcome back. For the first time since 5 o'clock this morning, we are completely watch-free and warning free. So things are looking better across the board. The severe storm watch has been canceled early. We have no severe thunderstorm warnings across our viewing area right now, but we do see at least farther south, those thunderstorms that move through are going to continue to weaken and move on out of here. Pockets of heavy rain, some gusty winds staying below a severe weather criteria. We've got a few downpours right along the shoreline across northern Cook County. Bulk of the rain still farther off toward the south. It's steamy as those rain showers and those storms move out. Dew points high 60s, near 70 degrees. Likely going to see some more thunderstorms in the late day going into the night. High today of 91 degrees. Could be feeling as hot of 100 degrees. So now those storms come to an end. Here comes the heat and the humidity, Ryan.
Laura, thank you. Turning to the Health Watch, a new study finds chronic loneliness may increase the risk of stroke for adults over the age of 50. Harvard researchers found older adults who considered themselves lonely throughout a 4-year period had a 56% higher stroke risk. Temporary feelings of loneliness were not linked to a higher risk. A new study on the drug ketamine is offering hope for hard-to-treat depression. Researchers in New Zealand recruited about 230 adults with depression. Within 5 days of taking the pills, more than half responded favorably and side effects were minimal. Now, we should note getting ketamine can be a challenge as it requires close medical supervision. The medical world has mixed opinions about the potential mental health threat social media can have on young people. The U.S. Surgeon General recently called for social media warning labels like the ones you see on tobacco products, but some think that might be an overreach. Researchers said the levels of mental health impact are varied enough that they shouldn't be generalized for a population as a whole.
Next at 9:30, the CTA Red Line will soon get a little longer,
where you can learn about the extension plans and the new Red Line stops.
And any minute now, a man will appear in court accused of attacking Cook County State's Attorney Ken Fox. We're live outside the court with more on the attack and what could happen to the man at the center of it.
And just like a good whiskey, this story gets better with age. See how a master distiller from the 1800s inspired a modern entrepreneur who took the world of whiskey by storm. We'll talk with her live about her life story and her new book.
This is CBS 2 News.
Good morning and good to be with you. I'm Adrena Sinclair.
And I'm Ryan Baker. Thanks for staying with us at 9:30. Dana's off today, by the way. We're glad you're here with us, whether you're watching on TV or streaming on CBS News Chicago. Taken out of context, that's what an attorney is saying about a high school student's controversial yearbook quote. But parents still want to know how it ended up published in the first place.
And a story from the 1800s gets distilled and told in a new light, now featuring a new modern chapter. We'll talk with the author of Love and Whiskey about her journey from homelessness to the Forbes list. Wow, what a story. Can't wait for that live interview. We'll have it in just a bit with Fawn Weaver.
But first, the story that we've been talking about all morning long, our top story is the weather. You warned us the severe weather was coming, and it didn't disappoint.
Not at all. There's been some damage reports, but things are starting to improve out there as these storms are now weakening, moving out.
Even my wife took the metro. Her train was stalled. A train fell on the tracks, and they had to move it out of the way earlier this morning. So she was like, I'm stuck on the train, but they're moving it out of the way.
Yeah.
So there was some damage in some areas.
Yes, crazy morning. And it went from 0 to 100 real quick.
We got a ground stop going on. We've got a lot of cancellations at O'Hare. So
everyone was impacted by this one, definitely. So good news. We love it. No watches or warnings currently in effect. We have a flood advisory that's still going to be with us for another 30 minutes. That rain fell hard across the area. We had radar estimates of birds of 2 inches per hour. And with that amount of rain coming down in a short period of time, you're going to run into some flooding problems. And I'm likely, you ran into this as you are traveling out and about this morning. Going to see this drop off in the next 30 minutes. Here's a look at the radar as we see things moving on out of here. And still parts of central Indiana have some strong severe thunderstorm warnings, but not for our area. We are still working with a few gusty thunderstorms, cloud to ground lightning. Storms are moving out over the lake. Heaviest rain is now south of 80. There's that live look outside this where we have at least those clouds. That's going to hang on at least for now. We may break out into a little bit of sunshine, and as we see that, temperatures go from the 70s quickly into the high 80s and 90s. I'm forecasting a high of 91 degrees. Humidity levels are really, really high too, so that's going to aid in at least for some more thunderstorm development in the late day today into the night. That route of thunderstorms could again potentially be on the strong, possibly severe side. So we'll have more on that, what this means for the rest of the week when I return. Back to you.
Laura, thank you. Right now, the man accused of assaulting outgoing Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx is expected in court. William Sweats is charged with aggravated assault and battery. He's accused of tossing some type of brown liquid at Foxx and then intentionally putting his truck in reverse and going across the road and speeding toward her. If convicted for those felony charges, Sweats could face up to 30 years in prison.
A 16-year-old boy charged in the murder of a retired Chicago police officer is due in court today as police are still searching for a second suspect in this case. Police say the teen and one other person shot and killed retired officer Larry Newman in West Garfield Park last week. The 16-year-old turned himself in on Sunday. And this week, there are 2 more meetings for you to learn about plans to extend the Red Line. Today, meeting serves the 21st Ward, which could have 2 new Red Line stops. And then there's another meeting tomorrow for people who live in the 10th Ward, which is on track to get a new station as well. So last week, people on the far south side got to learn about the project that will add 4 new stops, stretching service to 130th Street. Right now, we know those trains stop at 95th. The CTA says the extension will save riders maybe 30 minutes on their commute to downtown. So a big deal in the mornings. Crews are already starting to move utility lines and begin demolition for that project. Today's meeting from 6 to 7:30 at the Red Line Extension Community Office in Roseland. Tomorrow's is at the same time at the Chicago Public Library, Alkid Gardens location.
Well, Chicago's longest serving alderman will now spend 2 years in prison after being convicted on federal racketeering and bribery charges. Now the question is, where will Ed Burke serve his sentence? The 80-year-old Burke also has to pay a $2 million fine that was handed down yesterday and will have 1 year of supervised release after serving his time. His legal team is asking that he be put in a prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin.
It's a place where they put people that they know will not escape. They're not going to run out. So they don't have to worry about guard towers and things like that. But he's locked up 24/7, which is not an easy thing for most people, particularly one who's led a life like Alderman Burke has.
It is not clear when. We'll find out where Burke will serve his 2-year sentence, but he does have to report to prison on September 23rd. Leaders at Glenbrook South High School say their investigation into a controversial quote in the yearbook will be made public today.
So there was the quote that was published from a student that appeared to say they were happy about Hamas attacks on Israel. But then a 20-page report came out revealing that the quote from the student was accurate, but it was taken out of context. In fact, October 7th, we've learned, was never even mentioned during the interview with the student, according to this report. So an attorney has investigated the yearbook controversy for about the past month now and concluded there is little to no adult oversight when it comes to the production of these yearbooks.
There was no oversight by the advisor in the yearbook. They had plenty of time to retract the statement from the student, who I actually feel bad for the student as well, because she's now being targeted because there was no oversight by an adult.
It seems that this quote had nothing to do actually with October 7th, which is completely upsetting to me, that students decided to make it about something that it wasn't.
The report also shows that in the advisor's 20-year career in this position, she's never gone to the principal for advice on certain publication controversies.
Well, ready or not, here they come. Cook County property taxes are arriving on time. Starting July 2nd, you'll be able to see your bill online. The bills are also being sent out next week. The second installment for the tax year 2023 is due August 1st. This marks the first time in 2 years Cook County officials have mailed both installments for your property taxes on time.
Well, one lottery player in Indiana could be taking home a big payout.
Well, let's hope. The lottery officials say they're still looking for that person to send them the check. According to the Northwest Indiana Times, one lucky person is hanging on to a Cash 5 lottery ticket worth about $450,000. Take a look at the numbers on your screen. If your ticket, if you have it, matches those numbers, you have until July 1st, just a few more days, to claim your cash.
Come on. You think if you won nearly $500,000, you'd know. But
you ever leave something in your pocket and you maybe throw it away? And it was like, let's hope they didn't do that.
I hope so.
Well, Jack Daniel may be on the Mount Rushmore of Tennessee whiskey, but there's a hidden narrative behind the popular drink.
Yeah, there sure is. The story of distilling genius near a screen and the trailblazing author making sure his work doesn't go unnoticed. We've got the live interview coming up.
And if running bores you, you may want to give this mind-body workout a try. You're looking live at Reform Studios, where we'll give you a primer on Pilates right after the break.
Inside's going to be the spot to be, especially as these storms move out and the heat builds in. We're going to the 90s today. How long the high heat and humidity lasts, and your first alert forecast after the break.
One of my spring cleaning goals is to actually keep my car clean. I know it can be a challenge, especially with fur babies like my dog Jack, and those annoying crumbs that get stuck in between the seats. Well, let me introduce you to the HyperSweep. This lightweight and portable handheld vacuum actually has twice the amount of pickup power of the leading competition. I love how lightweight it is, and I can actually clean my entire car on just one charge. It does come with that plug-in rechargeable battery and this dock that holds both brush extensions as well. I've got the extendable brush that's great for, like I said, those hard to reach areas like in between the car seats, and the soft brush. This flat brush is great for those sensitive surfaces. It's really easy to use. It's so lightweight, and the amount of pickup power you get from such an ergonomic design is just incredible. I can't wait to keep my entire car clean and those hard to reach places in my home, like the stairs, those hard to reach corners, clean finally this spring with the HyperSweep. Now, this is a CBS deal today that is over 50% off. So head to cbsdeals.com and take advantage of this amazing offer.
Well, Reform Studios is Chicago's premier Pilates studio, offering exclusive access to Reform RX, the world's first smart reformer machine. Jackie Kostek joins us live from there. She gets us jump-started this morning. Hi, Jackie. Sounds like a party.
Ryan, good morning to you. Yes, it does sound like a party. Class is actually underway right now at Reform Studios. You can see the folks doing their thing, doing some of these Pilates moves on this machine that is exclusive to the Chicago market, as you just mentioned. I'm here with Jennifer Villamil, who started Reform Studios. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
Congratulations. Just opened up really on Saturday with the grand opening ceremony. Tell me what makes these machines, these reformer machines, so special.
Yeah, so these are actually the world's first digitally connected machines.
Yes.
And so you can see behind these jump boards, we have these tablets that have hundreds of on-demand classes. So if people can't come in for a full class or on time, they can rent these for 30 minutes or an hour and actually take their own self-guided classes.
So if you do come in, if you've only got a half an hour to work out, you want to come in and do a self-guided class, that's a pretty reasonable rate too,
No,
right?
for sure. It's like a fraction of the cost. It's $20 for an hour, 30 minutes is only $10.
Only
So,
10 bucks.
yeah.
That's a really good deal too, especially experience like a Pilates reformer machine, because these are not usually like the least expensive workout option, but they're really good for you. Okay, so let's hop on. Let's show one of these moves.
Okay.
We're gonna do a jumping thing.
Yes.
Okay. So we sit down.
So we do cardio in every single of our live classes.
Okay.
So this is low impact cardio. So you're going to put your feet at the top of the board.
Yes.
You're going to hold on, and you're just going to jump.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay. Really good for the core, really good for the legs, and a really good low impact workout, right?
Yes, absolutely. This is totally safe for your knees.
Woo.
It's great for like runners or people that just like don't like cardio actually.
Yes.
Because it doesn't hurt any of your joints. You can also work your abs while you're doing this as you look down.
Yes.
So you're getting abs, you're getting cardio, and also it's just kind of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I gotta say, it's actually a lot harder than it looks. Like, it's fun, but you start to burn out the legs quicker than you think you will.
Very efficient.
Yes. Jennifer, why is this workout also good? I mean, you mentioned for runners, but why is it also good for folks who might be working from home or sitting at their desks a lot?
Yeah, you know, Pilates is really great from like it not only strengthens, but it really works on the core.
Yes.
And the core is something for posture, for running, for really every single thing that we do. Also lower back pain. It also just helps with flexibility, especially in your calves and your hip flexors, like in your hamstrings, all these things that impact literally everything else in your body. So lower back pain, which working from home, posture, that is something that we can work on here, and just building that flexibility and that core strength.
Jennifer, congratulations on the
Thank
grand
you.
opening again. Reform Studios in Streeterville just opened up on Saturday. You can drop in, take a class, or you can also sign up online. Ryan, back to you.
All right, Jackie. Looks like she's working you out there. I guess you getting quite the workout this morning.
She's working me out. I didn't wear my workout outfit for nothing. Exactly.
You got this.
Gotta, tighten everything up. Thank you.
Looks
Thank
good.
you.
So Rebecca and Laura, have you ever done Pilates or used the reformer?
I've done Pilates. Everyone says I should try reformer because it's like the harder version. It's a little bit more intense.
Oh yeah, you don't need it easy.
Yeah, no. But she mentioned back pain.
Oh.
Attention, got it. I'm locked, ready to go. 9:44, everyone. It has been a busy morning. We start off with no watches or warnings, but we do have our flood advisory still in effect, and that is going to expire at the top of the hour. Storms, we still have them out there, mostly now off toward the south, if not over the lake too. We had a couple of cells across parts of Chicago, mostly light rain now, moderate rain extending to northwest Indiana from Valparaiso, LaPorte, and you can pick out exactly where that line of thunderstorms are currently. Farther south, now south of Kankakee, out across Newton and Jasper counties, moving into central Indiana. Also seeing some cooling temperatures from Michigan City, LaPorte, 71 Valparaiso. We've already popped up to 74 in Elgin, 72 DeKalb, 73 now Aurora. The rain's wrapping up, and we've got at least a couple of more dry hours before some more thunderstorms develop in the late day and into the evening. We needed to get this round of storms out for models to reset, adjust, get a better handle on what's coming down the pipe here this afternoon. We have dry weather from now until about 2-3 o'clock. Temperatures high 80s and some 90s out there. Feels like readings could get close to 100 degrees. By 6-7 o'clock, some more thunderstorms pile in from the west and overspread, moving through an environment again that could turn severe. We just have to see how worked over the atmosphere is from this earlier morning rain and thunderstorms. Risk for severe weather, we're at a level 2 on a scale of 1 to 5. That includes all of Chicago up to a portion of Lake County. Today's forecast will show we go to 91 tomorrow and into Thursday. A cooling trend takes place. Thursday, cooler near the lakefront. Nice looking day, a high of 76, 83 on Friday. And we do have another weather alert out for the end of the week. Some heavy rain, thunderstorms Friday into Saturday. We'll keep that elevated chance for showers and thunderstorms. Notice too, things are going to be heating up in a big way again through Saturday. A high near 90, calmer, dry, refreshing weather on Sunday. Highs in the 70s, sunny skies, and then we're at 80 again for Monday. So we've got the weather alerts currently in effect for the rest of the day. More active weather by the late week into the start of the weekend. Time is 9:46. Of course, we are still now in recovery mode because of all the rain and thunderstorms from earlier. Chris, how are we doing out there?
Indeed, we're starting to dry out a little bit. At least some of the localized street flooding and ponding is draining away. Treat any intersections that are dark as four-way stops. We've had some power outages too. So off to the maps we go. We will see lots and lots of red residual delays on all the core expressways out there. South Shore Line is back in operation. They were stopped for a while because of some power outages. Service resumed. They have up to an hour delay running. Metro service, some delays on there. They're getting back on track, literally, after having a couple of stoppages because of debris on the tracks. Core expressways are doing okay, what you would expect for a rainy day. Ground stop until 10 a.m. at O'Hare. We got 135 cancellations, and that is still growing at this hour. Flight delays at Midway. They had a ground stop for a while, but we're down now to just an average of 48 minutes with some cancellations. Yeah, one. Have a great day, folks. Drive safe. Let's be nice to each other, especially on a steamy day. Ryan, back to you.
Chris, thanks. Well, you've probably heard of Jack Daniel, the man famous for making Tennessee whiskey. But you may not know the one-time slave and distilling genius who helped create the famous spirit. Now there's a book to tell his story. Audrina is with the author of Love and Whiskey, Fawn Weaver. She's the first black woman to lead a major alcohol brand, Uncle Nearest. It's the fastest growing whiskey brand in the world and has hit billion-dollar status. And Audrina, I have to say, I've contributed to that valuation. Love some Uncle Nearest.
Ryan saying that he contributed to the billion-dollar status of your brand.
I appreciate you, Ryan. I appreciate you. And I believe you.
Yes, yes. I mean, he's for real. Today he's like, wait, you're going to talk to Fawn? This is awesome. Yes. Thanks for stopping by the studio here. Your book tours tonight. We'll talk about that in just a bit. You got to stop for Tusabo, which is exciting. Yes. So we have the book here. Can you tell us about your discovery into this, why you wanted to talk about Nearest Green and tell this story?
Absolutely. When I began diving into it, it was the legacy of the first known African-American master distiller. But what really drew me to this story was this love, honor, and respect between him and the man, the young boy that he mentored, that he taught, a young Jack Daniel, and this ability to be the best that we can be when we lead with love. So every page of this book is filled with hope. So the legacy is very important, but I think one of the greatest legacies is this relationship and showing us how we make it work in the South, white, black, Lynchburg, Tennessee. And if we can do it in the 19th century, we sure as heck can do it now.
You have so much on your plate. At what point did you say, I'm going to start this journey 8 years ago? Where were you at that point, and how did you begin it?
I was in Singapore, and it was on the cover of the New York Times International Edition. And the headline was, Jack Daniels embraces a secret, a hidden ingredient, help from a slave. And immediately, as we do in America, social media immediately determined Jack had a slave, he hid the slave, he stole the recipe. And I looked at this photo of this black man sitting to the right of him and said, if you wanted to hide a black man, you simply didn't put him in the photo. So I immediately looked at it and thought something completely different than what social media thought. And then as I began diving into it and the story came to life, it was exactly what I thought. He didn't just put a black man to his right. He ceded the center position of the only photograph he's ever taken with his leadership team to a black man. And then he made sure that he always credited Nearest Green, and his descendants made sure to always credit Nearest Green and Nearest's descendants. And so you have a story that we're talking about now. I personally think it's one of the greatest American stories of all time. And we have this story that we get to get a glimmer of hope in this moment when I feel like we need it. That's why it's called Love and Whiskey, is because love leads through this entire story.
Speaking of story, do you tell any of your story through the book?
Absolutely, absolutely. You come with me from childhood, from leaving home at 15 years old, being in my third homeless shelter by the time I was 8 years old, trying to commit suicide twice by the time I was 20 years old, to what I have become today. You go with me, but then you see how different things of my life is interwoven with things of Jack's life, is interwoven with things of Nearest's life. And so really, you do have three people that are carrying this story from beginning to end.
All right, speaking of story, I want to get to this before we go.
Yes.
So you were one of 6 black women to run $1 billion company at this point.
Yes.
And I mean, that's just so phenomenal.
Correct me.
Correct me.
Yeah.
Yes, make sure we're correct.
Yeah.
What is your advice, your words to entrepreneurs who are watching now?
If you're the quitting kind, don't start.
Ooh.
The times will get hard daily.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for glitz and glamour, be an entrepreneur. Let somebody else take the risk. Work and own your part of that business for somebody else. But if you're going to get into entrepreneurship, it is hard, and you have to know that's where you're supposed to be. If you don't know that's where you're supposed to be, you will likely fail.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, not only in the book, but with us.
Yes.
It's so awesome to hear more about the behind the scenes. We do want to mention that the book tour is stopping in Chicago tonight. So we have the information here on your screen. We're talking about Love and Whiskey, the book tour, 6:30, DeSable Black History Museum. There's still tickets available. You can find all the information at loveandwhiskeybook.com. Fawn Weaver, thanks for being here with us on CBS Chicago.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, we'll see you guys after the break.
Welcome back. Here's a quick look at the stories we're going to keep an eye on today. A man accused of assaulting outgoing Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx is expected back in court today. 34-year-old William Sweats is charged with aggravated assault and battery. He's accused of tossing a brown liquid at Foxx and then intentionally reversing his truck across the road and accelerating toward her. A 16-year-old boy charged in the murder of a retired Chicago police officer is due in court today as police search for a second suspect. Police say the teen and one other person shot and killed 73-year-old Larry Newman in West Garfield Park last week. That teen turned himself in on Sunday.
Lingering rain showers, some thunderstorms, most of that now off toward the south. Here comes the heat, though. It's going to be a hot one today, 91 degrees. We go to the 80s tomorrow, 70s on Thursday, a beautiful day. And then by Friday, the rain, the thunderstorms are back again. Some of those could be on the heavier side again, heavy rain, some strong, severe thunderstorms late Friday into Saturday. Go to near 90 on Saturday, Sunday. Nice finish for the weekend again, 77 degrees. So heads up, again, we could see some more thunderstorms late day today, potentially severe, and then again on Friday into Saturday.
So just be ready.
Always on alert, my friends.
This type of weather. Well,
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us here on our CBS 2 News at 9. Your local news continues streaming on CBS News Chicago with all those first alert weather updates. You can always find us on the CBS Chicago website or app. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe out there.
My payment goes citywide. Anyone available?
On any given day, how bad is it?
There are days where the alarm office is saying, is there an ambulance available? Is anybody available? It's in the entire city.
What does that mean?
That means that rig, which says on the side of it, paramedic equipped, is not equipped with the paramedic.
You're saying there's a real shortage of paramedics?
Yes.
Any available ambulance? Anybody available?
Farmers and the weather.
Weather's always been a challenge.
I think I have 5 different weather apps on my phone, and I probably check them over a dozen times a day.
Climate change and the price of doing business.
The changes in the weather are definitely challenges to farm income.
It seems that it's getting more extreme.
What climate change is costing farmers and what it could ultimately cost you. Wednesday on CBS 2 News at 10.
This is a good story. It's a Chicago story about you. You who gets up early to avoid this. You and them. And this guy too. But you watch CBS News Chicago in the mornings, so you got them to school without getting soaked. You found a dog walker for this guy. Made space for, well, you. And got to work with time to spare. You're a total boss. Mornings are better with CBS Chicago.
The 16-year-old boy charged in the shooting death of a retired Chicago police officer is due in court today. This as investigators say they're still searching for a second suspect. CBS 2's Jamaica Ponder is at the Layton Criminal Courthouse where the teen in custody will appear before a judge.
After a lifetime of service to his community, 73-year-old Larry Newman was gunned down just outside of his house in West Garfield Park this past Thursday. Here's what we know. CPD released this footage of these two young men pictured here in all black. They're fleeing the scene of the crime, and these two are accused of shooting Newman after staking out in front of his house. But only one of them is in custody. He's 16, and while being charged as an adult, authorities have not released his name. They do say that he turned himself in, though, days after the crime, once the community helped to identify him.
The evidence they provided helped detectives quickly secure charges against this 16-year-old offender.
Larry's life was taken from him by the very people he committed his life to helping.
The other suspect pictured is still at large. Investigators found that the two of them staked out Newman's house, and once he stepped outside to pay a lawn worker, that's when they opened fire, with Newman ultimately using his body as a shield. Police say that there's still a reward out for that second suspect, but the first teen suspect is currently in custody and expected to come to court later today. I'm Jamaica Ponder from 26 in California for CBS News Chicago.
Now to breaking news, a teenager is in the hospital this morning after he was shot on the south side. You can see the shell casings and evidence markers littering the street near 90th and Escanaba. A gun could be seen there on the ground. Police say a 15-year-old boy was standing at the corner with a group of men when someone started shooting at them. The teen was rushed to Comer Children's Hospital with critical injuries. Another man was also shot but is expected to recover.
One person is dead. Two teens are also hurt after a shooting yesterday on the west side. Here in this video, you can see police tape covering the parking lot of this McDonald's right at 53rd and Pulaski. This was in the afternoon. Police say when they got there, they found two teenagers. Both had been shot multiple times. A 16-year-old boy was rushed to Christ Hospital with critical injuries. A 15-year-old was taken to Stroger, where they are expected to recover. And then a third person took themselves to Holy Cross Hospital, and they later died there.
Naperville police are investigating after a construction worker was fatally hit by a car while on the job. Police say the 55-year-old subcontractor was working on a city project when a 74-year-old woman hit him with her car. This happened just after 10 yesterday morning near Napier and Heatherfield Circle. He died at the hospital. Roads were closed for nearly 5 hours. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Well, today, the family of a missing Chicago woman is traveling to the Bahamas in hopes of finding her.
And tomorrow will mark 1 week since she vanished. Royal Bahamas Police Force posted this missing persons flyer of 41-year-old Taylor Casey. It says she was last seen Wednesday in Paradise Islands, which is a popular tourist area there in the Bahamas. Friends say she was there for a yoga retreat, but they don't know how long she'd been there for. Earlier this year, the Department of State announced a level 2 travel advisory to use increased caution in the Bahamas. And we spoke to CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg about Casey's case.
We don't know here is where where she was actually staying. Did she leave the resort? Did she leave the complex? Was she by herself? Was she traveling with somebody else?
Yeah, lots of questions here. Her mother sent a statement saying, "We are deeply concerned for Taylor's safety and well-being. We love Taylor and want her home."
Two teenage girls were rescued from nearly drowning in Lake Michigan at Porter Beach over the weekend. Porter police are praising a few northern Indiana beachgoers who jumped to their rescue. Porter police say they were called to the beach around 7 p.m. Sunday when they noticed one girl struggling in the water. As she was being helped, a second girl who was about 50 yards from shore was also struggling to stay afloat. Rescuers used this newly installed life ring to help both girls, and they're okay.
And a North Suburban church is asking for your help to clean up graffiti. Staff at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Waukegan say someone spray painted this anti-LGBTQ message right on their sidewalk. They're now asking if anyone can paint over it, preferably with the rainbow or pride flag. The church says they'll pay for the paint.
Today, people of all cycling abilities will be hitting the South Lakefront Trail in a fleet. Envision Unlimited is kicking off its second adaptive summer cycling series. They use unique bikes, including adult tricycles and duet bikes. These photos are from last summer. Over 500 people came out for it, and they're hoping for a similar turnout this year. You're invited to bring their own bikes or learn how to ride with a member who needs some assistance.